So I like the new Bose Soundlink Plus. It sounds really good and it gives me very high hopes for the Bose Soundlink Max too. However, for a mid-size speaker, I do find it a little hard to justify the Bose Soundlink Plus because it's priced like a large size speaker. So today we're going to see how the Bose Soundlink Plus compares to both the Sony ULT 5 and the JBL Xtreme 4. So first, there's pricing, and this is my biggest issue with the Bose Soundlink Plus. The Bose Soundlink Plus has a retail price of $270, which is a lot if you ask me. And since this is a Bose product, I don't expect it to go on sale all that often. Whereas the JBL Xtreme 4 has a retail price of $380, and the Sony ULT 5 has a retail price of $330, and they both like to go on sale on a regular basis. So if you want to pick any of these speakers up, they'll be linked down below, or you can always press on the YouTube shopping button. And if you want to further support the channel, then you can always watch some of the related videos linked in the description down below. So first, there's the design of these speakers. Now, both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Sony ULT 5 are large portable Bluetooth speakers that are meant to be durable and easy to take on the go with you. Now, they are bigger and heavier than the Bose Soundlink Plus. However, both of these speakers are super easy to take on the go with you because they both come included with a full-on shoulder strap. Whereas with the Bose Plus, this speaker is smaller because it is supposed to be a mid-size speaker, but it is relatively bigger and denser than other mid-size speakers like either the JBL Charge 6 or the Sony ULT 3. And with the Bose, it has a loop instead of a shoulder strap. And since the speaker is so dense, hanging it from your backpack feels very uncomfortable and unnatural. And unfortunately, you cannot remove the loop on the Bose Plus like you can with the handle on the Bose Soundlink Max and replace it with a shoulder strap if you want. So if you're looking for a portable Bluetooth speaker, even though both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Sony ULT 5 are larger than the Bose Soundlink Plus, they're more comfortable to travel with thanks to their included shoulder straps. Because I know you can get a third-party shoulder strap for the Bose Soundlink Plus, but that's just increasing its price even more. But also, both the Sony and JBL have at least one major feature over the Bose. With the Sony, it has a built-in light feature, and I personally really like this light feature because I do feel that it has been improved and it has a good splash effect. So if you want something with a light feature, the Sony has you covered. However, if you decide to use this light feature, that is going to take its toll on the battery life. Now, when it comes to battery life, the Bose Soundlink Plus has an advertised battery life of 20 hours, whereas both the JBL and Sony, with the light feature turned off, have an advertised battery life of 24 hours. And real-world use with all of these speakers playing at 80% volume, the Bose is good for around 10 hours of playback time, the Sony is good for around 12 hours of playback time, that's with the light feature turned off, and the JBL is good for like 14 hours of playback time. And 80% volume on both the Sony and JBL is going to be louder than 80% volume on the Bose. But the major feature the JBL Xtreme 4 has over both the Bose and Sony here is that you can actually remove the battery on the speaker. So if you want, you can get multiple batteries and keep the party going, or if you get to a point where your speaker can no longer hold a charge, instead of having to buy a new speaker, you just need to get yourself a new battery. However, removing the battery on the JBL Xtreme 4 isn't as easy as removing the battery on the Partybox 320 or 120. With the Xtreme 4, you are going to have to use Allen keys, and the Xtreme 4 has the setup so that it can keep its IP68 rating. So swapping out the battery on the Xtreme 4 is doable, but it's not super convenient, but it can be done. And if you want, you can swap batteries between your JBL Xtreme 4 and JBL Partybox 320 because they are using the same batteries. And to charge these speakers, they all charge via a USB-C port as they should. But with the JBL Xtreme 4 and Sony ULT 5, if you were to use these speakers while they're plugged in, you are going to get a slight performance boost out of them. They're going to get slightly louder and they're going to have a little bit more bass. Whereas with the Bose, you don't. But also with all of these speakers, you can use their USB-C port to charge your own devices, which is super useful if you're looking for something portable. However, you can't use the USB-C port on any of these speakers as a wired connection, but with the Sony ULT 5, you can use this speaker with a wired connection because it's the only speaker here that actually has an audio jack. But when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, all of these speakers can be connected to two devices at the same time, so you and a friend can both be DJing DJ and latency is not an issue for any of these speakers, so you can use them to watch videos with on your phone. But when it comes to audio codecs, the Xtreme 4 only has support for SBC, whereas these other two speakers have support for SBC and AAC, and the Sony has support for LDAC, whereas the Bose has support for Snapdragon Sound, which are higher quality audio codecs, but you do have to be an Android user to take advantage of those higher quality audio codecs. But wait, if you want to invest in quality crypto, then check out our partner, Coinbase. Coinbase makes it super easy to invest in quality crypto like a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or Chainlink. And if you sign up using the link down below, you can get up to $200 in crypto and jumpstart your investing journey. So again, check out Coinbase by clicking on the link down below and get up to $200 in crypto. But with all that being said, let's talk about sound. When it comes to speaker setups, all of these speakers are different. The Bose has a single front-mid-firing driver with a single front-mid-firing tweeter and dual passive radiators that shoot out the front and out the back. Whereas the Xtreme 4 has dual front-mid-firing woofers, dual front-mid-firing tweeters, and dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides. And then there's the Sony ULT 5, which has a single front-mid-firing woofer, dual front-mid-firing tweeters, and dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the sound test. All of these speakers are playing at 75% volume while unplugged with their stock EQs.
I took a dive, I didn't know I'd fall so deep into your eyes. I've never been somewhere so sweet, I'm hypnotized. Yeah, you put my mind at ease, got you divine. I'm thankful that you're mine. Looking at me like people are looking at their phone. I've spent 7 years looking for love that I can hold. Now I know your love is all I need. Now I know, yeah, your love is all I need. Off of the ground, cause the feeling's so damn high. I'm hypnotized, yeah, you put my mind at ease. Got you divine, I'm thankful that you're mine. Passport, hotel, jet plane, my life won't ever be the same. Got you all up in my brain. Love the way you change me for the better. Got me through bad weather, I want you all the time. I love the way you looking at me like people are looking at their phone. 7 years looking for love that I can hold. Now I know your love is all I need. Now I know, yeah, your love is all I need. Your love is all I need. Yeah, your love is all I need. Your love is all I need. Yeah, your love is all I need.
So, like I've mentioned in past videos, I'm actually very impressed by the sound that comes out of the Bose Soundlink Plus. It sounds very full and it has a really good detail in the mids, and I actually prefer the sound that comes out of the Bose Soundlink Plus over the sound that comes out of the Bose Soundlink Max, except it just doesn't get as loud. However, both the JBL Xtreme 4 and Sony ULT 5 sound more open than the Bose, which is to be expected, but I do think the Sony ULT 5 is the most balanced sounding speaker here, because the JBL does like to lean towards a brighter sound signature. But both the JBL and Sony actually have more kick in their bass versus the Bose, whose bass is mostly on the higher end and audible side. And then there's max volume performance on these speakers. I think the Bose is going to be better suited for like an 8-person get together, whereas the JBL Xtreme 4 and Sony ULT 5 are good for like a 10 to 12-person get together. Now, the JBL does seem to get a little louder than the Sony, but that's because it leans towards a brighter sound signature, but the Sony sounds fuller at those higher volumes because it just puts out more bass. So overall, the Bose Soundlink Plus sounds very impressive for its size, but for the price, I would rather go with the Sony ULT 5 because it's going to sound more open, fuller, and is going to have a higher max volume. And finally, let's talk about pairing these speakers up with other speakers. Now, with all of these speakers, if you have 2 of the exact same speakers, then you can wirelessly pair them up and get them to play in left and right stereo mode, but they have to be 2 of the exact same speakers. Now, with the Bose, you can also pair it up with, let's say, a Bose Soundlink Max or a Bose Soundlink Flex 2 and get them to play in sync, but you can only have a total of 2 speakers wirelessly paired to one another. Whereas with the Sony, the speaker is using wireless party chain, so you can pair it up with other wireless party chain speakers, like let's say a Sony ULT 7 or to another ULT 5 or to an ULT 3, XG500, XE300, XE300, XE200 or to an XB43, XB33 or to an XB23 and get them to all play in sync. The only thing is you cannot connect your Sony ULT 5 up to, let's say, the Sony ULT 1 because unfortunately the ULT 1 does not use wireless party chain. But if you want, you can also connect your Sony ULT 5 up to any of Sony's larger box speakers, like let's say the Sony ULT Tower 10 or the Sony ULT Tower 9 and get them to play in sync as well. And you can pair up to 100 speakers together, which is obviously going to be a lot more than you need. But then there's the JBL Xtreme 4, which is using Auracast, so you can pair it up with other Auracast speakers, like let's say the JBL Charge 6, another Xtreme 4, or to the JBL Boombox 4, or to a Flip 7, Clip 5, or a Go 4, and get them to all play in sync as well. But you can also pair it up to any of JBL's party boxes that are also using Auracast, like let's say the Party Box Encore 2, or the Party Box 120, 325, 27, 20, or the Ultimate, and get them to play in sync as well. And also, with the JBL Xtreme 4, you can pair it up with JBL's older speakers that are using Party Boost, like let's say the JBL Boombox 3 or the Boombox 2, or to an Xtreme 3, or to a Charge 5 or Pulse 5, Pulse 4, a Flip 5, or to a Flip 6, and you can get them to play in sync as well. And this is very important because the Xtreme 4 is the only Auracast speaker so far that does have backwards compatibility with Party Boost, because with, let's say, the JBL Charge 6 or the JBL Flip 7, even though these two speakers do have Auracast, they don't have backwards compatibility to Party Boost like the Xtreme 4. So if you are planning on growing your collection of speakers, you do want to go with either the JBL Xtreme 4 or the Sony ULT 5 because you can grow your collection of speakers, whereas with the Bose, it is super limited. But I really think that the JBL Xtreme 4 having that backwards compatibility with Party Boost is very cool that a lot of other people might not know about. With all that being said, I think the Bose Soundlink Plus sounds great and it gives me high hopes for the Bose Soundlink Max too. However, for me, it is hard to justify the Bose Soundlink Plus because of its very premium price when compared to the JBL Charge 6 and the Sony ULT 3, which sound and perform just as great. But let's say money isn't an issue. For me, it is still hard to justify the Bose Soundlink Plus if you're looking for a portable mid-size speaker, because this speaker is super big and heavy when compared to both the JBL Charge 6 and the Sony ULT 3. For the budget, I would prefer to spring for either the JBL Xtreme 4 or the Sony ULT 5 because both of these speakers sound better and they get louder than the Bose. And even though they are a little bigger and a little heavier, they're easier to travel with because of their included shoulder straps. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.